This video is sponsored by Noom. The last 6 months, I have struggled with my weight. Of course, there are the usual reasons to expect as to why a fitness regime might fall off in 2020. My gym was closed. I live in a city where it's hard to go running like 6 months out of the year, unless you're really channeling the spirit of Goggins.
That's it today.
Alright, I'm gonna try to choose the
It's
last
water wet.
But more so than anything, it has been a struggle to make time for exercise. I mean, it's just that my responsibilities have increased, but I as a person haven't really leveled up sufficiently in a way to maybe handle all of those responsibilities. This year I bought a house. I had to start cooking for myself, which basically means I started getting takeout all the time. I have an alcohol problem. Just kidding. But as a result of being given more responsibilities at work, trying to manage my relationships, and putting sufficient effort into this channel while I still do it on the side, often just making room for exercise has been difficult this year. Many times I've been driven to asking myself, when am I supposed to fit this in? Like, there's no time today to make all of this happen. And as a result, I got kind of grumpy about not being able to work out. And you know, a couple people in the comments have taken note as well. They've left me some really, unsavory comments. Luckily, I'm driven by hate. It powers me, it fuels me. So thanks a lot, Raghvendra. That being said, spring is around the corner. The gyms are opening up again. Granted, you have to wear a mask inside and you have to try not to hyperventilate. But even though the schedule and all the stuff I have to do hasn't let up, around 3 weeks ago, I made a resolution in that I would make it 30 consecutive days, no matter what, of exercising. I was gonna work out every single day. And if my muscles are too sore, then maybe yoga or just going for a walk. But really, I can sense a lot of dedication in myself to turn things around. Of course, as a YouTuber and someone who wants to squeeze views out of my pain, about a month ago, I took like these shirtless pictures of myself because I thought it would make for a great before picture. And I tried to look as depressing as possible. Like, I stuck my stomach out on purpose and I made a morbid face and the lighting is terrible. I think it makes for a fantastic before picture. So I'm hoping, at some point there is an after picture that improves on the situation, but those photos were definitely like a motivating starting point for wanting to exercise all the time. And actually today marks day 20 of me exercising every single day. And even in just 20 days, I think I've honestly worked out for like an hour a day these last 20 days, some combination of running and lifting. I feel so much better. Maybe this is like confirmation bias, but I can sort of see it in myself, where I do feel my mental health and maybe even my appearance improving as a result of just exercising all the time. Of course, in 20 days, no dramatic changes to a physique or body can really happen, so I'm not gonna give you the after picture quite yet, but I gotta say, in 20 days, mentally, I already feel way better. It feels as if my brain has been washed and nourished. I definitely feel more hope, less anxious, and while I'm currently still juggling a lot of different plates, having kept up with just 20 days of exercise so far, I feel I am able to handle those stressors a little better. Basically, this daily exercise program has served as a grounding force in my life. I imagine some of you might have had a similar 2020 in terms of struggling more with fitness than you might have in the past, and many of us might be in the same boat of wanting to ramp up our training, to get things back in order. And so in today's video, I actually want to cover some of the ideas from a favorite book of mine, John Ratey's book called Spark. He is a Harvard professor who's done a lot of research on exercise and how it affects the brain. And just going through the examples of that book has motivated me and truly given me some new insights on why I need to keep up with my exercise regime. And so that's what I'll be going over today. Now, much of the most compelling research that was done on exercise and how it affects the brain was actually done in schools. For instance, at Woodland Elementary School in Kansas City, Missouri, and nearly all of the students have a subsidized meal program. Basically, it's an inner city school that was known for having like a lot of violent incidents. And in 2005, the physical education staff there expanded their curriculum from going once a week of having a PE class to 45 minutes every single day. 45 minutes of like cardio-based activities. And the results they found from that study was very dramatic. The students' fitness levels improved dramatically, and counselors reported that the number of incidents involving violence at Woodland decreased from 228 to 95 for that year, just in 1 year. For an inner city school to go through such a rapid transformation, and for such a depressed town as Titusville to come alive as it has, would be considered pretty remarkable. And this truly indicates the profound mental benefits that might avail themselves to us if we made exercise a priority. As John Ratey says it in his book, when the students of Titusville or Naperville, if they go for a mile run in the gym, they're more prepared to learn in their other classes. Their senses are heightened, their focus and mood is improved, they're less fidgety and intense, and they feel motivated and invigorated. The same goes for adults in the classroom of life. What allows us to absorb the material is where the revolutionary new science comes into play. In addition to priming our state of mind, exercise influences learning directly. And this is something that I've been noticing a lot in the last 2 weeks, as I've also, despite it being cold a lot of the times, I've been going for runs. I mean, just 2 miles at a time, but I've noticed that more so than even weightlifting, the running, it has let me think more clearly. I didn't even realize that I was sort of in this fog. It just felt like my baseline. But coming back and getting a run in and then going back to my consulting work, I just realized that I'm able to process tasks much more quickly. I'm able to reach out to the right people or figure out how to do something new with much greater ease. Whereas in the past, I think for a lot of November and December, I would start a task and then have this feeling just a few minutes into it of not remembering what I was supposed to be doing and what the next step was. And in the last 2 weeks, especially now that I've brought cardio back into the mix, I know that even if I don't know how to complete something, I'm able to stay on track with what step I'm on. In his book Spark, John Rady says that going for a run is like taking a little bit of Prozac and a little bit of Ritalin, which sounds pretty interesting. Like the drugs, exercise elevates neurotransmitters, and especially cardio activates a class of neurotransmitters called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Early on, researchers found that if they sprinkled BDNF onto neurons in a petri dish, the cells automatically sprouted new branches, producing the same structural growth required for learning, and causing John Rady to classify BDNF as miracle grow for the brain. BDNF also binds to receptors at the synapse, unleashing the flow of ions to increase the voltage and improve signal strength, as the firing of our neurons is a combination between electrical and chemical action potentials, like impulses. What this research largely indicates is that the voltage of that firing increases with exercise. Inside the cell, BDNF activates genes that call for the production of more BDNF, as well as chemicals like serotonin and proteins that build upon the synapse. Essentially, it does power up the brain. Overall, it improves the function of neurons, encourages their growth, and strengthens and protects them against the natural process of cell death. Rady was in the process of researching his first book when he read an article in Nature magazine about research on BDNF in mice, and the results were pretty staggering. Carl Kottman, the director of the Institute for Brain Aging and Dementia at the University of California, Irvine, was the main person who designed some of these studies on BDNF in mice. And what they initially thought was that motor sensory areas of the brain would improve from exercise. The motor cortex, the cerebellum, the sensory cortex, and maybe even the basal ganglia, all areas of the brain related to movement. Where they actually found that the brain was lighting up was the hippocampus. The hippocampus is related to memory and learning. Essentially, through that study, Kottman nailed down a direct biological connection between movement and cognitive function. In doing so, he blazed the trail for the study of exercise in neuroscience. And as the stories of the relationship between BDNF and exercise kind of developed in parallel, it became clear that BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, was important not merely for the survival of neurons, but also for their growth, and thus for our learning. Researchers determined that mice without BDNF lose their capacity for something called long-term potentiation. That's the mechanism through which we learn. And conversely, when those mice were injected with BDNF artificially, that encouraged long-term potentiation. After a bunch of studies were done on mice and other animals, later on studies showed the benefits of exercise in human learning as well. In 2007, German researchers found that people learn vocabulary words 20% faster following exercise than they did before exercise, and the rate of learning those new words directly correlated with the production of BDNF. And I say all of this basically to draw out the fact that some of exercise's biggest, most significant benefits are mental, while what is sort of pushed as the reason we should all be exercising on things like YouTube or Instagram is that, it makes you look better. But really, that's just the surface of what exercise does for us. Now, 20 days is a great start, but to keep up with my fitness journey, I'll be using Noom, the sponsor of today's video. Noom is a different, new way to get healthy, lose weight, and achieve your goals using proven psychology and cognitive behavioral therapy practices. They aim to arm you with the wisdom and guidance you need to practice more thoughtful choices every day, ultimately adding up to a healthier, holistic lifestyle. I've been tuning into their psychology-based curriculum to sort of learn about my own struggles with being at my leanest and strongest, one of which is overeating. In the words of Jack Black, I'm sexy and I like to eat. And sometimes in the past, especially in the last 6 months, I have found myself binging on junk food or just not cooking. And Noom's curriculum pointed out that before taking on a behavior, you end up having a thought. And mine often is, I can't be bothered to cook right now. I'm just too busy, there's been too much going on. Or if I've had a particularly busy, stressful day, then I think I sort of like to tell myself that I deserve to eat bad food, like delicious bad food, because I've worked so hard today. And these are not thoughts that I recognize myself having. I didn't have the metacognition to know that I was thinking this way and hence eating poorly. In this sense, Noom has helped me understand the psychology of my eating habits better and discover ways that I can feel less stressed and get myself to spend more time cooking. With Noom, I've been using a plan to get more healthy and closer to my ideal weight. You can take your free 30-second quiz using the link here and also follow Noom on social using the links in the description box. It's sponsors like Noom that help us make more high-effort videos, such as an upcoming Blade Runner 2049 parody in collaboration with Thomas Frank. I think it might be like the most ambitious video I'm making on this channel so far, and videos like that where we spend like a month and a half making one video simply wouldn't be possible without our sponsors. So thank you, Noom, for sponsoring this video, and thank you all for watching. Now, as I've said before, my real goal with this year is to actually make it the whole year with working out every single day. I mean, I might miss a day here or there, but for the time being, I'm extremely committed. I'm really dedicated to making time for exercise. And to start out, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this 30 days of exercise starting now. Like, I don't think it's apparent on camera yet, but my body has been, like, it's been feeling tighter, and I feel like some amount of the arms are coming back. Is that cringe to say? I don't know. I feel sexy again, and I haven't felt that way in a long time. This whole thing is incredibly cringy, and I hate myself for doing this. With spring here and like the environment changing, I'm just feeling really clear and happy, and building up that daily habit and getting back to this point, I feel a sense of just real excitement for everything that's gonna come in the next 7 months. This city is beautiful now that I'm so interested in cinematography and cameras, and now I feel like I finally have the toys to play with it. I'm just so excited to take advantage of everything to come. And I just want to thank you for watching this video and for any of my other videos that you might have seen. Greatness is absolutely coming, as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers. At the cellular level, I can't remember. At the cellular level. Did I get it that time?
You were close.
Cellular.
Cellular level.
Cellular. At the cellular level. And this is because exercise primes our state of mind. At the cellular level. Fuck!